Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do Look OLL. Now OLL is the third stage in CFOP, where after we've done the cross and then the first two layers, we solve the yellow top with one algorithm. Now that is 57 different cases, so 57 different algorithms you need to learn. That is insane if you are only just starting to learn CFOP. So instead what we do is what's called Look, where first we build a yellow cross, then after the yellow cross, we solve the yellow corners. Okay, so in order to learn an algorithm, we're first going to need to learn cube notation. Now, each face of the cube is designated with a letter. So this is R on the right, this is L, the front face is F, the top face is U, back here is B, and at the bottom is D. Now, when you see a capital letter, one of the ones I just mentioned, that designates that you turn that face 90 degrees clockwise. So a capital R would mean turn the right face 90 degrees clockwise. Capital L, F, U, B, and D. Now if you see a capital letter with an apostrophe next to it, that means prime. So R prime, and that means you turn it 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So R apostrophe is R prime, do this. L prime, U prime, F prime, B prime, and D prime. Now a letter that has a number next to it, the number 2, so R2 means to turn the right side twice, or 180 degrees. So R2, L2, U2, and so on. Now, other than those layers, there is also your middle layers. So this is M, this is S, and this one is E. Excuse me, E. And you turn those the same way as the face closest to them in the alphabet. So for example, M is closest to L. So this is L, this is M, this is L prime, this is M prime. Okay, so this is S, this is S prime, this is E, and this is E prime. And finally, for cube notations, if you see a lowercase letter or you see a capital letter with a lowercase w next to it, that's more when you get onto 4x4 and bigger, that means to turn two layers. So lowercase f or f lowercase w means f wide, and we simply turn like that. Now lowercase f apostrophe is wide f prime, go like that. And that is cube notation. Okay, so moving along to our pre-cross cases, there are 3 cases and thus 3 algorithms that we need to learn. Now, there is when you have 2 edges and they are opposite each other, creating a horizontal line. There is when you have 2 edges and they are adjacent to each other, creating an L shape. And no edges, when all you have is the center. Okay, so starting with the horizontal line, if you followed my beginner tutorial, you will know this algorithm. And here it is in cube notation. It is F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. And there's the cross. Okay, now when we have the 2 edges adjacent each other, making the L shape. In the beginner method, we held it like this, and we did the algorithm I just showed you to create the horizontal line. Now, in Look, we want to do this in one algorithm rather than 2, so we hold it so it's in the right and the front, and we go F wide, R, U, R prime, U prime, F wide prime, and there's our cross. Now for the dot case, where we have no edges aligned, we simply do those previous two algorithms back to back, starting with the horizontal line, which was F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime, then F wide, R, U, R prime, U prime, F wide prime, and there's our cross. Okay, moving along to when we have the yellow cross, there are 7 cases, so 7 algorithms we need to learn to finish the yellow top. Now we'll start with these two, where we have one corner which is orientated and the rest are not. By holding the one that's orientated in the front left, you will notice that we have here in the right a yellow square at the front. And you'll notice with this case, holding it in the same front and left, that this case isn't. And that is how you're able to tell the difference between the two. So starting with the one where we've got the square here at the front, you will know this algorithm from my beginner tutorial. It is R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And with the other case, what we do is we rotate the top layer around and so that it is in the back right, and here we have the square, yellow square here in the front left. And we go R prime, R, U2, R prime, U prime, R, U prime, R prime. And there's the yellow top. Okay, moving along to where we have 0 corners orientated, so we have just the yellow cross. There are 2 cases here. One where we have headlights poking out the front and the back, directly opposite each other. And another one where we have headlights on one side and 2 corners are pointing away from each other on the other side. Okay, so starting with the headlights directly opposite each other. It's a pretty simple but repetitive algorithm, this one. We go F, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. Okay, so to simplify that one, it is basically you pull the front side down towards you with the right hand. You do the sexy move that I taught you from my beginners 3 times, and then you restore the front side by bringing it up. So F, triple sexy, F prime. Moving along to where we only have the one set of headlights and the other 2 pointing out from you. Holding it so the headlights are in your left hand. We go R, U2, R2, U prime, R2, U prime, R2, U2, R. And there we go. Okay, moving along to where we have 2 corners orientated. There are 2 cases here. One is where we have the 2 corners not orientated. They are facing away from each other. So one out this way, one out this way. And the other one where we have headlights. Okay, so starting with the one where they are pointing away from each other, holding it so that the single edge piece on its own is in your left hand, we go R wide, U, R prime, U prime, R wide prime, F, R, F prime. And with the other case, we hold the headlights in front of us and we do R2, D, R prime, U2, R, D prime, R prime, U2, R prime. Okay, and the final case for Look OLL is where we have 2 corners orientated and they are diagonally opposite each other. So holding it so we have one that isn't orientated in the front left and one in the back right. We do F, R prime, F prime, R wide, U, R, U prime, R wide prime. And that is Look OLL. In my next video, I'll be looking at Look PLL, And in Look OLL, we use one algorithm to solve all the corners, 2 separate cases for that, and one to solve all the edges. And there are 4 separate cases for that. So stay tuned for that one. Thanks for watching.